Today on the TMZ Podcast.
Welcome to the TMZ Podcast. Harvey Levin here.
Charlie Neff here.
Courtney here.
Charles here.
And Britney Spears is going
Yes! This is the day.
Big court hearing today.
What are you cheering for?
Because this is the day that she could be free. Free at last.
Okay,
Free at last.
my point is, at the end of the day, will you be cheering if she is not free?
Well, we're not there yet, Charles. That's a future Courtney problem. Right now, I'm living the moment, and I'm excited.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, today is a really important day because at 1:30 Pacific time, there is going to be a hearing, and the judge is going to hear from Britney's lawyer, Matt Rosengart, who will ask the judge to formally end the conservatorship. That will be on the table. The big issue, and we've talked about this before, is whether the judge will do one of three things. Reject it out of hand, which is not going to happen, accept it and end the conservatorship, which could happen, or the judge could say, I'm receptive, but I first want a mental evaluation.
And when and if the judge does that, that's when it's really going to hit the fan.
Right,
Mhm.
because Britney does
that.
not want that. And here's why she
And
doesn't.
even Jamie has said that.
Right, but Jamie, the reasons are very different.
Yes.
Britney knows that for 13 years, there have been evaluations every single one of those years. And every time this gaggle of doctors have all decided, you know what, the mental illness is severe.
Called a panel of doctors, by the way. Gaggle of doctors makes them, it kind of loads it up.
It is kind of a gaggle. I mean, what I'm
doctors.
told is it's almost 24 doctors.
Okay.
And
It's a
therapists
panel.
and whatnot, that they are going to, that they have always said this conservatorship is appropriate because of her condition. And now the question, will the judge order that? And Britney doesn't want it because she knows the history of this over 13 years. What is interesting to me, and I'm just going to throw it out to you guys, even if the doctors say, you know, we're concerned about it, we don't think she should be free of this conservatorship, there is another side that goes beyond medicine, which is the doctors are saying it, but there is a reality that Britney has been able to function. She has been able to perform and work, and the judge and be a parent. And so the judge could say, look, I am not looking for somebody who is the picture of mental health before I end the conservatorship. If she is not off the rails, I should end it. And the judge could do that.
Yeah, the judge could, but does the judge then loses cover? And
Yeah,
I
the
guess
judge
that's,
loses cover.
I guess that's more.
It's 100%.
And that's more, but that's more PR than anything else, right?
Because judges are elected.
No, that's true.
Judges are elected in California. So, it is losing cover if the judge says, I want a mental evaluation, but then ultimately says, I'm not going to follow what the doctors do.
Right. And then if something, God forbid,
Happens.
goes awry,
yes,
then you have everyone knocking at the judge going, how could you have done this? How could you have let her go? The doctors even told you, and you let her out.
Question is, who's going to say that?
Yeah. And that's why the judge may go, nobody's going to say that.
But
These
if no
free
one
Britney people aren't going to say that.
if no one presents the case to the judge, does she even have to say like a medical evaluation? Like if everyone is saying no, like from
no, she doesn't.
She can still ask for it, even though all parties involved
But what
say
would be
they
her
don't
reason?
want one. She can still ask for one.
Just because she feels like she has to, because she would be letting
Yeah,
Britney
no,
go.
she wants all the information possible so she can make the decision.
She has the power to do whatever she wants to do to get information to make a decision on this conservatorship.
And I think for Free Britney fans, it's all about her happiness. And we know for the longest time, the biggest beef that she had was with her father, Jamie. She wanted him gone. She felt like he kept her on this horrible schedule, this really tight schedule, made her work when she was
Why are you guys shaking your head?
Why
is her happiness?
Why do we care about the
hold on.
Free Britney
But,
people?
Hold on.
now he
But her
is gone.
happiness.
And so if she does have to continue in the conservatorship after the court hearing today, I think fans will feel like it's not a fail.
Who
I think
who
it'll
cares
be
what
more...
the fans? Who cares what the fans
What do
think?
you mean?
Because
Britney cares about what her
Britney
fans
cares.
Guess what?
No,
The
but-
most damaging thing in this case are people are listening to fans. Ask one fan, what happened to create the conservatorship? What exactly?
Harvey, the fans have,
They have
helped
no idea.
her get where she's at.
Oh, my
She's
God.
been so grateful. I mean, look at all the things that have happened since the documentary came out like a year ago. I mean, it's been incredible that there's been so much movement on a conservatorship, which she thought had no end in sight.
Can I say something? So to the fans who think that the most important thing is Britney's happiness.
Yes.
Right.
doesn't her health also matter? Shouldn't her
Absolutely.
health?
Charles, they connect.
Exactly. So why wouldn't the fans care as much about her happiness as her health? That's all I'm saying.
But Britney,
I'm not
we
saying
do,
happiness.
Britney
I'm
cares
not saying
about her own
happiness is.
health. Britney
Well,
said,
no. I'm not talking about
totally
Britney.
think I need therapy.
I'm addressing what you said specifically about the fans. All the fans care about is her happiness.
Yes.
Well, hey fans, how about you care about her health too?
Well, wait a minute.
But we'll never really
hey,
know.
fans,
But we'll
why don't you
never
care
really.
about her health?
But
I-
for
I-
medical records, we'll never really know what they are. Of
Right,
course, we
but
want her
because
to be
you
happy.
don't know, you're not in a position to say what should happen.
But
That's
no one
the
should
point.
feel imprisoned.
But I'll support her.
This is something that should be doing good by Britney, making Britney feel comfortable
You're right.
if she does have this horrible
You're right.
medical condition, not making her feel trapped. So even if she is going to be staying in this conservatorship because
So-
a mental evaluation is done, at least they can work with her to make her feel happy.
Charlie, let me ask you a
They
question.
should.
Let-
I'm not saying happiness is not important. I'm just saying that health should matter just as much.
And
Mhm.
look,
Yes.
and the goal should be to get her out of the conservatorship if there's any way of doing it, because nobody should have to live in that because it's a free country and people are free. So that's number one. But I mean, do you think, to both of you, I mean, if no, I'm really serious. Do you think if this judge feels pressure from these fans
Mhm.
and the judge,
Which she has been getting death threats.
okay, so if the judge says privately, in my judgment, the conservatorship shouldn't end, but I'm going to let it end because I don't want to incur the wrath of the Britney fans. Do you think that's right?
Well, no, but I also think a judge should be stronger than to let free Britney people.
She's
Right,
getting
like-
death threats.
I know, but
She's a judge because we trust that she can make the right decisions
Yeah.
under pressure.
But why
But-
are but what's the look, I mean, here's the thing. I get what you're saying. And again, I'm on board with you guys that if there's any way,
to get her out of it, she should
let
be
her
out.
out of it. And also, it's been a failure because she's miserable. No
Mhm.
matter what Jamie did or any of the other people did, the reality is she has been miserable in this. That makes the conservatorship a failure right there.
And it's
Yes.
so sad that she posted earlier this week basically saying she's been praying the most she's ever had in her whole life. And she apologized for all the outbursts she's had on social media saying, look, if you guys were me, you would be doing the same thing. It's a lot of emotions for somebody, especially someone that apparently has a mental health issue.
Well, I think there will be a lot of emotions at the end of this day, one way or another.
There
I
are
am
gonna
so
be.
nervous.
I am too.
What?
What are you nervous about?
Because
You're not-
this is going to be a moment where you remember where you are when it happens. And it's going to change the future. I don't care what you think. You can laugh.
What
This
do you
will
mean
change
it's going
the
to change?
future.
It's going to
Imagine
change her
if she
future.
got
and everyone's
out.
future. This
Okay.
is going to change my future.
How's it going to change your future?
Because I'll be happy because Brittany's happy. I'll feel lighter. It will
Okay,
just be.
so
like,
the next
I
Really?
will.
So you won't
so the
complain
next day
about
you-
lunch next
yeah,
week?
the next day you have
You're
your
not
bad
gonna
day at
complain
work.
next week?
We're going to talk to you
Right.
about how you should feel very happy.
Hey, every
Right.
time I'm mad, just be like, remember Brittany's free. And I'll be like a beautiful little butterfly that just like spread her wings. It will be the best thing ever.
Okay, that is bullshit.
Yeah. 100%.
Okay, let's go to okay, Charles. Look, Charles thinks I'm going to
You
argue.
said something. No, I don't think you're going to argue, but you said something a few minutes ago, and I held my tongue when you said it's a free country, and we're all free. Some people are, and then there are other things that happen that make you feel like people aren't necessarily free. So the Ahmaud Arbery trial is going on now in Georgia, and the defense attorney for William Roddy Bryan stood up in court.
We should play this because it's so outrageous.
He had an objection. The lawyer's name is Kevin Gow or Guff. I don't know how you pronounce
Gow.
it, but he had an objection to some of the people who were in court. And by the way, I said some of the people. The phrase he uses is these people
Oh boy.
He did say these people.
many times.
So here is what happened.
The idea that we're going to be serially bringing these people in to sit with the victim's family one after another, obviously there's only so many pastors they can have. And if their pastor's Al Sharpton right now, that's fine, but then that's it. We don't want any more black pastors coming in here, or other Jesse Jackson, whoever was in here earlier this week, sitting with the victim's family, trying to influence a jury in this case. And I'm not saying the state is even aware that Mr. Sharpton was in the courtroom. I certainly wasn't aware of it till last night. But I think the court can understand my concern about bringing people in who really don't have any ties to this case other than political interests. And we want to keep politics out of this case. If a bunch of folks came in here dressed like Colonel Sanders with white masks sitting in the back, I mean, that would be a problem.
I thought it was good.
Oh my gosh.
That's
Wait, who was that at the end there? Who was that?
That was the lawyer. That was the same lawyer. That was the same lawyer.
Well,
He's
that was
saying,
really inappropriate.
So what he's saying
he's
is
equating to, right.
he's
That wouldn't be
equating-
appropriate.
He is equating this
Jesse Jackson or Reverend Al Sharpton
with Colonel Sanders, people dressing up like Colonel Sanders.
So
or
I'm so
or
curious.
as KKK members also.
Yeah.
How does
it's
a pastor
unbelievable.
like intimidate a
Okay.
crowd?
First of all,
Or a jury,
it's not,
I mean.
it's not a pastor who intimidates. What he's very clearly saying here is he feels that black pastors are somehow intimidating the jury. If they come in and they sit with Ahmaud's mother and other family members, that's somehow intimidating.
Well, and there's
nothing freaking political
crazy.
about it,
No.
okay? That's not political. He's like, oh, that's making it. Has nothing to do with politics whatsoever.
But also, if he didn't see Al Sharpton, why does he think that the jury did?
And by
Well,
the way,
they're sitting
let's
there,
get to the other
But,
thing
like,
that's
when he see
really
him?
freaking offensive about this. Jesse Jackson was never in the court.
It was Ben.
Oh,
who
it
was
it
it?
was Ben Crump.
You think he thinks it was
Oh.
Ben Crump?
It was Ben
I
Crump.
mean, Ben Crump was there.
I think he thought it was Ben Crump.
Is that why?
I think that's what I think that's who he's referring to.
And this is such
Because he
a
said earlier in the week, and Ben was in court.
Yeah,
and this
and
is
then he
such
said
a
whoever that
racially
was.
charged
Well,
situation.
But,
Already, yeah.
but here's the irony to this. This lawyer and his cohorts on the defense team were able to get all but one juror to be white.
Right.
And so
Right.
he's
It's
talking
insane.
about this undue influence. There's only one black juror. It's not like the jury.
I think what
but
he's saying. I think what he's saying is that if you have a Jesse Jackson type or a Reverend Al Sharpton, that's going to make the white jurors feel
Uncomfortable.
make them feel
Why?
uncomfortable, like they're going to have white guilt. Well,
Wow, that's that
what he's
goes
saying,
beyond
right?
what I
I
don't
think that's what he's saying is that they're sort of leaning on him. Listen, you know, white juror, you know that you better do what's right here. You can't, because the black community is going to come down on you if you don't do what's right here. That's what this guy is insinuating, and it's BS.
Well, no,
And I gotta
it
tell you
is
something.
BS.
And the fact that he thinks that, the fact that he even feels comfortable to stand up in court and say this, to repeatedly say these people, these black pastors.
Charles, it's racist.
The
Yeah.
fact that he feels comfortable doing it says everything I need to know about living in that part of the country. I just wouldn't do it. I
Well,
never would.
okay.
I have relatives who live in that part of the country, and I say to them all the time, I don't know how you do it.
So you're a lawyer. When you're a defense lawyer, do you read like your statement to other people? Like, did he say this in front of other like colleagues, and they're like, "That's perfect. Like, you should go in and
Oh,
say
I'm
that."
sure.
I don't think
No,
I
I
don't think he read
so.
anything. And by
No.
the way,
It's just so.
this is him representing his client. I
It's
hope that this does
terrible.
not this does not hopefully speak for the defense bar there, because it is just an outrageous comment. And it's unbelievable. You might as well have.
What
it-
was the judge reaction to this?
The judge was incensed by it. The judge cut him off.
Thank
And yeah, no, the
God.
judge cut him off, but which, to the judge's credit, thank God he did.
Yeah. Who else knows what he would have said?
But it just is, it's incredible to me that he would be that brazen and just lay it out there. These people, black pastors, and what he was trying to say was they came from outside the city and they're intermeddlers and they are trying to pressure.
They're there to support
Yeah,
a
the
mother
family.
whose son was
brutally
killed brutally in
murdered.
the
Who, by
street.
the way, I've spoken to a lot over this past year plus. I've spoken with Wanda a bunch for all of our stories, and she is like the nicest, sweetest, like soft-spoken woman who just wants justice for her son that was tragically killed when going on a run. Like
This is the
it's
kind
so
of shit that
sad.
makes people look for land in Nigeria or even Ethiopia. By the way, the beaches in Ethiopia are beautiful.
Didn't know that.
Really?
Well, might want to go check one out because
I liked
Shit
Egypt.
just
Well,
pisses me off.
Well, because it's disgusting. And then I don't know. It's
Okay.
just so
I
hard.
I know. Here's the thing. I know that people like this exist in this country. Obviously, I'm not naive, but when they feel this comfortable to speak in court,
Yeah.
Right, that everyone's
it.
watching.
that's what makes me feel like.
And by the way,
man, this
to the nation,
yes,
Yeah.
to the nation.
And you know,
Anyway,
still now he doesn't feel like
All
he
right.
said anything
Okay.
wrong.
let's, okay, maybe this will bring us together. No, it won't. Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, he has been attacked by space aliens and
he's not an alien. Luke Skywalker is not an alien.
well,
What
he-
is he?
a guy who
Yeah, I
fights space aliens.
right.
How's that?
But yes, Aaron Rodgers getting it from Luke Skywalker and Luke Bryan.
And so there's okay. What do you want to start with, Luke Bryan or Luke Skywalker?
Let's start with Luke Bryan, right? Because this was at the Country Music Awards. Luke Bryan is hosting and opened the show with a clear reference to Aaron Rodgers and his vaccination status or lack thereof.
Whatever makes you country, you are welcome here tonight. Rest assured, we're following all the health protocols to keep everyone safe. And it is so great to be here with all my fellow artists, tested and together. Or immunized? Who is it? Just playing.
Or those
Bad timing.
immunized.
By the way, bad timing. He should have waited for the laughter to die down. No, you don't deliver the speech when everybody's laughing
He's
at
been
the prior
hosting this
thing.
show for a while.
I
think
understand that, but he
all
could have waited a
He
beat.
could have waited.
By the way, you
Sure.
can't see it because we're doing a podcast, but in the clip, Carrie Underwood
Oh, she
kind
gave
of
him
gave
side
some
eye.
side eye,
Yeah.
which, you know, her husband, Mike Fisher, famous NHL star, he had come out in support of Aaron after Aaron had said he was immunized.
Has her husband been vaccinated?
It doesn't sound like it.
Yeah, it's unclear.
Is he still playing Mike Fisher, by the way?
I thought he is
I
playing.
think so.
Huh, okay.
But I know they have different rules for the NHL.
Yeah, I think they have rules for all different sports. But
Isn't he on
here's the thing.
Oilers?
He didn't just get it from Luke Bryan.
Yeah, the worst one may be Luke Skywalker.
Because remember,
Oh, you know this one hurts.
when Aaron Rodgers spoke on that podcast,
yeah, the Pat McAfee show.
that he was wearing a Star Wars sweatshirt, which he loves. He loves Star Wars.
Mhm.
And so, as you all know, that he lied about his status, made it seem like he was vaccinated and he hasn't been, taking a lot of flack for it. So,
Yes. So upon seeing that the clip of Aaron on the Pat McAfee show, Mark Hamill, aka Luke Skywalker, decided he needed to make a comment about that. He tweeted, he said, of all the sweatshirts he could have worn, he had to take full responsibility in that one. Like,
you
know
leave
that pretty
my
funny.
name out of it. Leave my character out of this, please.
You know it hurts Aaron Rodgers because he's such a fan of Star Wars. Like, we've seen him dress up as like the characters before with all his other girlfriends. So it's just like when your idol tells you like, don't ever wear my stuff, that would kill me.
It's a burn.
Yes.
You know what? I think Aaron Rodgers probably lets this one go, and he's like, you know what?
If Derek Jeter told you not to wear Yankees, you would be devastated. Absolutely
You
devastated.
definitely would, Charles.
Yeah, look.
Why would he ever say that?
Oh.
Why would he ever say? Why are you even bringing that up? As a,
Oh, he's already hurt,
I know.
and it's not even
say
real.
so is Aaron Rodgers anything like Dave Chappelle here? Because Dave Chappelle, has been getting criticism, and it has rolled off his back. And he is, he's not budging. He's not apologizing. Is Aaron Rodgers like that, or does Aaron Rodgers have his tail between his legs?
that's a great comparison, and I think he's just like Chappelle. He feels very strongly in his convictions here that he's not even saying that everybody else is wrong. He just says, I'm right. This is what is right for me, and he's going to stick to it. And I guess what? He probably just won't wear Star Wars shit anymore.
Right.
Oh, that's
actually
going to
hope-
hurt him.
I actually hope on Sunday
Yeah.
he comes out wearing something Star Wars.
Oh,
It
that
would be
would
so
be
funny.
I think
hysterical.
on Sunday he should be wearing Green Bay Packers.
Well, no, when you make the entrance, like into
No,
like the
they
field.
wear-
No,
Mark
what
come out to the
if he
theme
comes
song.
out with a lightsaber?
Oh, when he walks
out
He
with
comes
the
out with a
yes,
lightsaber.
that's
Oh my
great,
God, that
Harvey.
would be hysterical.
Okay, we got to move on. Oh gosh,
This was heartbreaking.
I don't understand this. Look, first of all, another person died.
Yes, we should say a ninth person has died after the Astroworld fiasco, disaster, tragedy, all words apply. Barty Shahani, she is the ninth victim. We had reported earlier this week she was brain dead, but they, I guess they turned off the life support.
And she is the person who they were trying to carry out in a stretcher, and they weren't holding it properly, and she
ended
fell
up
on
falling.
and fell hard on her head.
They were bringing the stretcher over a fence,
fence.
trying to get her
Right.
over the crowd. And then the part that was coming off of the fence, which had her head, nobody was there supporting that part. So once it
Now-
came off, she dropped to the
So
floor.
she fell. So
Hard.
she's 22 years old.
Mm.
I don't know that the fall had anything
We-
to
we
do
don't-
with.
we don't
know.
know that.
No.
We don't know that. But regardless, whatever happened to her that night
It's
is
terrible.
she died from those injuries. And I don't know if you saw any of this, Harvey. Her moments after she died, her family was out there came out and did a news conference, and her mother, to hear her mother's words were just heartbreaking. I mean, it just humanized what happened there that night. And I know we've been talking about it all week, and you just say, 8 people died, now 9. And when you see and hear their family members, it just, regardless of who's to blame for what happened, if someone is to blame, you just know that these people are really going through it now.
Of course, no. And speaking of blame, this is the most puzzling thing in this whole tragedy that I just don't understand it. I've seen video, I've seen photos, we have information. I do not understand
because
it.
the police are not, at this point, not being forthcoming with what they know or don't about what happened that night. What Harvey's referring to, these photos and videos that we got showing the Houston police chief, Chief Fenner, walking with other officers at the front of the crowd. They're right by the stage. And what's interesting here is the time. So these images were taken at 9:57 p.m. and 10:02 p.m.
And it was declared a
mass casualty
mass
at
casualty
9:30.
event at 9:38.
9:38 by the fire department. So the fire chief is there and obviously plugged into all of the CPR efforts that are going on.
And we should say
the
there is-
ambulances coming in and out.
To call it a mass casualty event, that fire chief knows the scope of this.
And
Right.
now
At 9:38, 20 minutes later, and then 25 minutes later, the police are oblivious.
They're lollygagging.
They're fanning out. They're fanning out over
They're
Travis
taking
Scott.
selfies.
Yeah.
some of them are taking selfies at the front of the stage. They don't look like they are in the middle of a mass casualty event.
They didn't know, including the police chief.
Right.
The police chief who presumably would communicate with the fire chief.
But it really speaks to Travis Scott's point that he had no idea of what was going on. There's 50,000 people here. We know from videos that Travis had acknowledged some kind of ambulance coming through, but then continued on, and people were trying to tell him like what was happening.
I'll be
and
Travis.
Travis said
hold
he
on.
didn't know.
We don't know if people were trying to tell him what.
Well,
there's
we know that there
video
were
where-
people. No, those 2 people
Those
got
were
on stage.
No. There's people like that. A girl that was on a rafter that was like, people are dying.
Oh, but
she
that's
was,
not
hold
to
on.
Travis.
That's nowhere near Travis. She was talking to a camera
Yeah.
operator.
Oh,
That
okay.
was
So
nowhere near
Travis is being sued. If I were Travis's lawyer, what I would do is I would just look at the jury and say, okay, you say that Travis
Should have known.
knew or should have known. Here's the thing. I want to show you the police chief, and I want to show you all these officers. And 25 minutes later, no idea. My client not only is standing on a stage with lights that are blinding him from the crowd, but also he's got an earpiece in. So he's listening to loud music. There is all sorts of commotion going on for the concert. And if the police didn't know, how do you lay that on my client?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good argument.
It is.
It's a good argument.
What is baffling to me is I'm going to assume that the police chief, because seems like an upstanding guy from what we've seen in news conferences, that he would not be walking around so oblivious
If he knew.
And so the fact that he didn't know points to the fact that Travis didn't know, but then why didn't the police chief know? Now, the police chief has said in a news conference on Wednesday, said that his office did notify someone on production. He would not provide a timeline yet, but said that they did notify someone on production about what was going on. I'm guessing that was sometime after 10:02.
Yeah.
Because if his office had told production, hey, people are dying out here, and then he and his officers are walking
Just
around shooting video and photos, that would be
And now it's making me
horrible.
feel like, because we broke this story that Travis went to an after party afterward and
Dave and
still
Buster's.
didn't know. And so I'm just thinking, if the communication is that poor, and if the police chief didn't know at 10:02, well, maybe Travis actually did leave the stage and have no idea. Because honestly, if Travis knew people died, there's no way he would have gone to Dave and Buster's. There's just no way.
Yeah.
So
No.
I think this really protects Travis Scott. I really do. I just think this is the most powerful piece of evidence in his corner.
But
it's
we
good
do
for him, but
know-
we still don't know what in the hell was going on there that
it's
they
so
were not
confusing.
communicating.
But we do know the
baffling.
concert ended early,
It ended at like 10:15, right?
right?
Mhm.
Ended
I will say
15
this.
minutes, 20 minutes early.
We heard that on a piece of
He
paper,
performed a long time.
they said that he was scheduled to go from this time to that time. He ended 15 minutes earlier than that time that was on a piece of paper. But having watched the end of the concert, there was nothing
Abrupt.
It was nothing abrupt. It didn't feel rushed. He ended the show the way he always ends
normally.
show. I'm told, I haven't been to a show, but apparently he always ends with goosebumps and the same, fireworks and everything went off. And he even said to everyone as he's walking off the stage, said, "I love you. Thank you to everyone who performed. Everyone get home safe. Good night."
He
Totally
didn't-
oblivious.
I don't
then.
think he
Oblivious.
Yeah.
Just did not know.
He didn't know. And this is, everybody didn't believe it. And I watched something on cable this morning where they're making a presumption that he knew and they're ignoring this. But this is something that can't be ignored.
For 45 minutes, I just still can't get over
It's
it.
crazy.
Crazy.
It's crazy. Okay, LeBron James.
LeBron James, legal analyst.
Well, and
Oh,
candy
boy.
expert.
And candy expert, yes. LeBron saw the clip of Kyle Rittenhouse. Of course, the Kyle Rittenhouse trial is going on now in Kenosha, Wisconsin. And everyone
You saw him break
the
down to
clip
the stand.
where he broke down.
Mhm.
And some people reported as he
Allegedly broke down.
burst into tears. LeBron saw it a little bit differently and said, "What tears? I didn't see one. Man, knock it off. The boy ate some lemon heads before walking into court." Lemon
You do
heads,
not
I
do
want to say,
LeBron
are
justice.
delicious.
Ew.
Well, you don't like lemon heads?
No.
Oh, they're good, but they're
Well,
not
we get
that
into it.
sour.
Not the point. Not the point.
And they're not really sour.
No.
No.
But
They're
his point-
sweet.
His point was that the lemon heads made Kyle make this face,
By
and
the
that's
way,
what he was doing.
and
He's
Le-
saying
and
he was
LeBron-
acting. He's
LeBron-
saying he was acting.
LeBron is saying what a lot of people are saying when they watch this.
Right.
I mean,
Crocodile tears.
it's not even that. It was and look,
It was
people
so fake.
people show emotion differently, but it just felt so over the top.
Mhm.
It's so over the top, and I think it's relevant that there were absolutely no tears, but there was a contortion in his face that was so dramatic, and I don't know. I mean, it's going to be interesting to hear when this verdict comes down.
I want to
whether
know
the
what
jury
the
bought it or
jury
not.
thought
Yeah.
about it, because obviously we know what LeBron thought. We've all spoken to people in our own personal lives. We know what a
Mhm.
lot of people feel about it. The only thing that really matters is how did the jury feel about it? I don't know. I mean,
I hope they feel the same way that a lot of people I've talked to feel, that it was not real, that it was all like for show. I haven't heard that many people come out and say that they thought it was real, but you never really do know.
I mean,
It's
look,
become a meme
Yeah.
on social
did
media.
he have actual emotions about what happened that night? Yeah, I'm sure he has emotions. Was he trying to show a particular emotion? Because Harvey, you tell me, his attorneys definitely have a conversation with him and say, "This is why we are putting you on the stand.
Are you kidding? Of
We are
course.
putting you on the stand because the jury needs to see that you're human, that you have emotions about this, and that it was upsetting to you, that it was traumatic. That's what you got to do. Action."
If Kyle Rittenhouse were cold as ice, it would work against him. So it would seem to me that the lawyer would say, show the emotion of how you feel
Show
and of all the other
remorse.
stuff. And it just felt over the top. I mean, it just looked over the top. Whether it was or wasn't, it looked that way.
Yes.
And I think that's the point, right?
He would have done better with airheads, though, I think.
Yes.
So
Or
does,
warheads,
does
yeah.
Court TV bring in
that's
LeBron James as a special analyst?
Can I tell
on
you,
another
I-
trial?
I would watch it.
I have been watching some of these talking heads. It would be just as good. Okay, so that's going to do it for us today. If you want to watch or listen to our podcast,
You know what to do. You
Apple
gotta,
Podcasts,
Google,
Spotify.
Spotify, wherever you chicken bop,
Eh,
podcast.
whatever
What?
chicken bop.
what the
So
hell
he
is
was
that?
like chicken popcorn.
I'm so anxious for
Where-
this Britney trial. I can't concentrate.
Okay, that is
Wherever you
later
get your
today.
podcasts.
Later
All right.
today, and check out the website. We will, in great detail, tell you
Yes.
what happens in this courtroom today. So have a good day and have a good weekend.
All right.
See ya.